G'day and welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by Space Tomato and Algared. Welcome to the Syulen Buyer's Guide. I was damn surprised by the price of this thing. I think you two were as well. It's a bit big for its price, but I think we're going to cut into why it's probably priced at that. My takeaway might differ from these two, but we'll go through it. So let's cut it straight off into the game, and we'll go from there. So, Space, do you want to give us your first impressions?
It's a big ship for what it is. I mean, you know, when they mentioned it in the ISC first, they said it was a starter, and I was like, what? But you know, it is priced like a quote unquote a starter for the game. It also has the sort of amenities of a starter, I guess, like a pretty low SCU rating, and you know, it doesn't have the most weaponry. This is a standard multi-purpose sort of general ship, but it's big, and it also flies weird, which you'll get more into. And I think those are going to be things that maybe don't make as big a difference right now, but as we get more into like the damage system and the engineering systems and all that, somebody who's getting themselves a one person ship might not want 3 decks. They might not want all this space and size.
It's definitely got some of the newer textures that we saw on the Santoki as well. So it's got some really nice refined material passes. So yeah. Algared, your first impressions, mate.
Yeah, when we first heard the size and the decks of this ship, we were saying there's no way this is a starter ship. It's a medium ship, and it is on a medium pad.
It is on a medium pad.
And it's on a medium pad. In landed, it's 25 meters in width, or 28 meters in width.
Yep.
And its height is 15 meters, and that's why it's on that large pad.
Because of the
when
height.
It's in flight, though,
yeah.
As you said, it only pulls in its wings by 6 meters, so it's still a very large cross section. Looks really nice. I love the aesthetic and the material look of that ship, and the way that the exterior material look seems to flow onto the inside as well. Very rocky and earthy.
All right, just before I move inside, I just want to point these out. These are where the cargo pods go. And for a ship this size, Space, I think you kind of said it first, it doesn't carry a lot for how big it is. 6 SCU is kind of, I don't know, it's not very much, is it, guys?
It's less than an Avenger, according to the details. So the Avenger has 8, this has 6, and the Nomad has 24. So even though it's priced between the two of them, it actually has the least cargo capacity.
And you know, this ship coming in like this might make it seem a little bit worse, but also this ship coming in like this emphasizes the abilities and benefits of the other ships more. Because the Nomad sits in this place where people would kind of be like, why would I get a Nomad when I could just get like a Cutlass? But this really goes to show that the Nomad now stands out as a one-person ship, fits a pretty small footprint that can carry a lot more cargo than its competitors.
Yep. Absolutely. It's definitely adding to that. I will say they do have some nice power points here that actually have like 3 points on them and a center point. So you can actually change the mood lighting, so to speak. Obviously, really... Now, I said this is a negative to the guys before we started recording, but this does feel like a cramped ship. Yes, it is a starter, but it feels like a starter. That's kind of what I was trying to emphasize. So it's still got, you know, all the components packed in, which is good.
It's certainly better than, say, an Aurora or a Mustang, because their components are on the outside, so you need to leave to go outside to get them.
So just real quick so I can move on, Algared. This is a gun rack and a suit locker is what we're assuming this is, but that's something that the Nomad and Avenger doesn't have. So a little bit of a... Actually, Anyway, Algared, sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah, so, you know, the other ships, a lot of them have their starter ships, their components are put on the outside. I think the Avenger and the Mustang do have them inside as well. So, the Syulen, nicest.
Yeah, the materials, the textures, color screams. I mean, I get a lot of Halo Covenant feelings from the heavy use of purple, which I really like. And this really fits with the Xi'an concepts they've shown us in the past. So I think overall the design came together really well, especially on the interior. Exterior still looks great, but it is definitely, you know, some people are going to hate it, some are going to love it.
We can actually
It's a
see
polarizing design.
you can actually see outside a little bit here as well. It's kind of weird. This is some kind of terminal. But it's actually funny you mentioned purple, because one of the things we noticed was they've changed the HUD to purple as well. So we'll have a look at that in a sec when we get in. So this is where I started to realize it was kind of cramped, because this is the seat that you get in, but this whole room is essentially just a second elevator besides these two component rooms.
You sit on the seat, and it takes you up, and you've got your components.
So obviously some components to come there that we don't know. Anyway, so this is the little animation for this.
Looks like a comfy seat.
But this is where we start to come to my real first problem with this ship, as you're probably about to see, right? Purple HUD when I turn it on, turn on the engines. But flying this thing is a nightmare. And I'll explain why. So this looks like a normal camera, but as soon as normally I would spin around the ship, that's the camera normally panning, like I would pan, and it rolls because everything is side on. So I'm actually going vertical to get that to spin. You can see what I mean. You can see it looks like I'm drunk because the camera controls are all haywire. To actually take off, I've actually got to press W. Now, normally I press Control to go down. I've actually got to press S. Pressing space is backwards and Control is forwards. That's how, well, yeah, because I'm in this weird angle. So it's a little bizarre.
It is what John actually said on the video we saw the other day, though. But
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. But it is just it. You can tell it's going to need an update to its control surfaces and a change. To be honest with you, it feels like it needs to be like the Cartoal, where when it comes into land, it goes into a landing mode. Yeah, I love the fact that they've tried to go a bit different, but as a new player ship, I can see why it's $70. It just doesn't. Oh, yeah, you can see the problem.
I think a lot of people are going to pick this up and then melt it.
Yep.
When, like, this is going to be this is a very cool, new, unique ship.
Yep.
But it also is very cool and unique for the sake of being an alien ship, as opposed to, like, there are other practical ships that'll be easier to control, easier to use, especially in the short term, than this, that people will probably melt for.
Well, so you'd imagine when I put up the landing gear, it would kind of like rotate or something like the Cartoal. It doesn't. And that's what makes it kind of weird. So the whole time, now you're out, it's normal. It's totally normal. My muscle memory's back, all that type of thing. But
great view.
Yeah, great view. Purple. It's, got 3 little guns, missiles.
Size 3 guns on that, to be precise.
Yep.
Size 3s.
Yep.
Size 3s and 24
nice.
And 12 missiles, I think.
Yeah, so that's the cool thing about the missiles. I'll just do that one more time for those that missed it. Have a look where they fire from, boys. It's kind of cool. They actually come out of those holes on the arms, which is sick.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
So it's got 12 size 2 missiles, which is pretty good, but they are bespoke. You can't change You can't change them.
3 size 3 guns, though.
Missiles currently than both the Nomad and the Avenger, and its weapons are actually at the moment bigger than the Nomad and the Avenger. So, combat-wise, it does better than its for ships on either side of it in price. I think if someone was getting this for the very first time,
that's the boost, by the way. When I hold shift, it's like warning lights. Yeah.
Wait, so
parking lights, blink, 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 blink.
Yeah.
What other starter ships have 3 size 3s or something equivalent?
None that I'm aware of.
Yeah, it's probably the most overgunned. But again, remember what Algared was saying before we started the show. Like the Zeus, everything's had a refactor for the Zeus, so this has probably had a refactor as well. Yeah.
The Titan has, to answer your question, the Titan has 1 size 3 ballistic and 2 size 2 laser repeaters.
Okay.
So it's not obscene, but it's not. But it is more than the Avenger. And the Nomad has 3 size 2s. So it's got the same number of guns, slightly upped, and that, I think, works out for balance. But if that was the only ship you had, flight the way you'd fly it would be you'd find that normal. We find it difficult because we've been used to flying every other ship
Yeah.
that's used as a different system.
So the difficulty though would be is as a new player moving from this to other ships. It's the inverse problem I'm having right now. Yeah.
Yeah, they'd have that problem going to the other ships.
Yeah.
Well, hear that. There's a nice little sound bug for you. On elevators, nobody can hear you scream.
Well, I don't hear you anything at the moment.
Oh, yeah, no sound, but yeah.
But
yeah, so kind of cool little effects going through the ship as I'm at warp. But yeah, everything is essentially sideways and inverted. Yeah, I'm kind of going back to what Space said. I see a lot of people buying it and using it as an LTI token. And I think that's kind of what it is, but I don't think a lot of people are going to keep this once they fly it.
So buy and try.
Yeah, it really needs its own. Sorry, I got indigestion. Custom controls. It's just a little weird. Like there's a lot to like about it, but it just. Yeah, it's got to rotate before it lands. Because I was showing these guys, like when we went into the hangar as I was flying up to Everest with it, you can literally fly in and then deploy landing gear and then just point your nose at the roof and land. So landing is really easy, but taking off is a pain in the backside. I guess I could do it in reverse where I could just fly to the roof and then turn forward. That might be the way. I guess it probably on my part it just needs a little practice, but when you guys fly it yourself, you'll understand. It's just a little difficult to fly. And John did say that in the video. You are right, Algared. It is a very pretty looking ship. Yeah, I don't know. Anything you guys want to kind of add there before we wrap it up?
One of the things I noticed when you're flying up to the station, the boost and the speed seem to be very quick. You're blacking out quite a lot.
It's essentially as fast as the Spirit. If you're flying the Spirit, and so accelerates incredibly fast. Yeah.
So the question is, how for those who are into racing, how is this going to perform as a racer? And that boost speed and the speed it seems to have, certainly the fact that it makes you black out does give you that sense that it is a fast ship.
And I will add that Algared's just
how it balances out.
Algared, you've just pointed on something I would actually like to point out as well. Knowing that this is a starter, things like the Cutter, the Pisces, in recent years they've been splitting off the variants. Maybe the best is still yet to come.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the default variant. Maybe there's other variants that are going to come that actually excel this. Maybe we get, I don't know, you start to think of it, a combat variant, one that's got more cargo on it, one that's an explorer, so when you start looking at that, maybe a racing variant, like you said, Algared. So maybe the best is yet to come with this. So yeah,
certainly for racing, my concern would be the size, because even in flight mode, 25 meters length, 28 meters in width, 16 meters in height. In landing, 20 meters in length, 22 meters in width, and 15 meters in height. So it's a big ship. So yeah.
Yeah, it is a little oversized. It looks really damn pretty though.
It does look
and I guarantee you they're going to sell a lot just because of the way this looks. But I go back to everything Space said. I think he nailed it. He got to the conclusion before I did. Yeah, mass melting or upgrading. Would you say, Space? Not just not melting, but upgrading it to something else.
Yeah,
most
just
likely.
Getting it, using it, having fun with it, and then moving on to the next ship.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people will stick with it though.
Oh, look, I can see a lot of people buying that as an LTI token. It is a cheap ship, relatively. Maybe we'll see the new tank, the AA Storm is cheaper and the better LTI token, but $70 is not bad for a starter LTI token to start from, especially if it's got LTI. So
yeah, good little starter to add to the lineup. I do find it a little bit of an awkward starter for new people coming into the game. I really wish they'd probably put a bit more work into the controls, because I struggled You like, and again, if you guys get a chance to try it out in game, you'll understand very quickly. Trying to get out of a hangar, and if you think about all the new people that have trouble just turning the ship on, yet alone trying to control it when it's all inverted is a bit weird. So it would have been nice to have that kind of landing mode and takeoff mode like a Cartwell. And
Yeah.
I do think in time we'll get something akin to that. But yeah, it's just a little weird at the moment. We'll see.
It's a really big omission. And that's one of the surprising things they didn't show during UI at CitizenCon was a landing display, because we know we need it. They know we need it. We've talked about it a lot. And it's becoming very crucial, especially for a ship like this. You're not going to be able to land a ship like
when
this
I,
in the first
when
place.
I saw it like that initially, I thought, wouldn't it be kind of cool? I was like, you know how the seat just comes up and puts you up in it like that? Wouldn't it kind of be cool if it first goes up and it's normal, like vertical, and then you could see out and kind of fly out in the vertical configuration, and then when you click the landing mode button, it rotates the seat back and rotates the ship forward? That's how I would have done it, but maybe you can't actually have the seat in there vertical. Maybe there's not enough room to do that, but, I digress. Right. I think that kind of covers it for everything. Anything else anyone wants to add?
I think the one thing that certainly does is the big negative for me is the way the camera controls are really mucked up. So
Yep.
that's really where you see it. It's not really working where they're back to front and upside down.
Yep.
It
just makes it a bit. I said it to you guys. It makes
alien.
it really alien. But yeah, I think I'd like to see in the comments below. Have you flown it yourself? Can you see what we're talking about there? I think it is indicative why it felt, because I said I hoped it was around $75, but it's $70. It's even cheaper than I thought it was going to be. So, and I do think it is alien tax removed, basically because of that hard to fly factor. Space, what would you like to hear from people below in the comments?
I'd like to hear what they think in terms of whether or not, like, if anybody who wants to buy one of these things, do you think you'll stick with it? I mean, I think everyone should have a starter ship. They'll be useful for certain things, but like certain starter ships will be better for certain things. And I want to know if this is one people will gravitate towards or if this is more novel.
Well, I'll add on to yours then. I'd like to know, would you pick this ship over other starter ships? Which, does this fall in your lineup? Because I still think it's like Cutter, Avenger, 815p, Cutlass for me. That's kind of that upgrade arc in that raid. Algared, what would you like to hear from people below in the comments?
Yeah, probably the same. Like in terms of cargo, this is Aurora, Mustang, C8X.
It does sit right in the middle of that Avenger and Nomad, doesn't it?
But in terms of sizing and everything else, it's in between. It's not in terms of cargo. It doesn't even compare to it. It's two less than an Avenger and a quarter of the Nomad. So it doesn't fit into that sizing where it sits in price. It's more of the lower starter ships. So yeah.
Yep. All right. With that, then, he's been Space Tomato. He's been Algared. Oh, I forgot something. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to everyone at the end of the video who went that extra mile on Patreon. And I think Algared was about to say,
he's been executed, and we're out of here.
See you guys in the next one. Say goodbye, Space.
Bye. Bye, Space.
A good boy.
Goodbye, Space.